So I decided to drive to my nearest Hallmark store that is located in Wichita, Kansas. And I stopped in and I got myself,
Yeah, do you guys have the new ornament catalog?
the 2025 ornament book. This price list is hefty, but yet all of their ornaments and things are manufactured in the state of Kansas. Why is there a 25% price increase on everything that they carry? And the questions cannot be answered, which begs the question, is the tariff excuse legitimate or just good old-fashioned greed? So I'm sure by now just about everybody has started feeling the pinch at the checkout counters. But are big box stores like Walmart and Target really raising their prices due to tariffs? Or are they just simply using it as an excuse to further line their pockets? Today, I wanted to dive into the rise in prices that we've been seeing at a lot of stores and explore how exactly companies are exploiting the tariff situation, because it's a very convenient way to increase their profits. We're also gonna talk back about how consumers can fight back against this, because it is possible to make smarter shopping choices and avoid being completely taken advantage of by these retailers. Because a lot of these companies like Walmart, Target, and even Hallmark greeting cards, they're all raising their prices even when a lot of the items that they're selling are made right here in the US. Let's real quick break down what exactly tariffs are in case you are not exactly understanding how tariffs can affect prices of a lot of items that we buy and use every single day. So tariffs are taxes that are imposed on imported goods, and they are there to protect domestic industries. But when tariffs are placed on items that are imported from overseas, such as electronics or clothing, those are the two primary ones, it can really drive up prices for consumers if those companies are not willing to absorb the cost. So at this point for months now, retailers like Walmart and Target have been very open and honest with the idea that their prices are going to go up as a direct result of this tariff war that's been going on. They've openly acknowledged that prices are going up, not just on imported goods, but domestic goods as well. While it's true that tariffs have legitimately raised prices on a lot of things like electronics and clothing that are directly imported from overseas, you can't exactly argue that every single price hike that we're seeing is justified. According to several articles, particularly this one by Yahoo Finance, I will make sure to link it down in the video description below, President Trump has been calling out Walmart specifically for its gross increase in prices store-wide, because it can be argued that a monster retailer like Walmart should be able to absorb the tariffs and eat the cost without passing it on to consumers. President Trump wrote on Truth Social, Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart has made billions of dollars this year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers. Because here's the thing, Walmart is making billions in profits every single year, and those profits increase year over year. As of April 30th, 2025, gross profit for Walmart for the last running 12 months was over $170 billion. And that was a 5.85% increase from the prior year. $170 billion in profit. That's not total revenue. That's not gross revenue. That is profits. That is the money that Walmart is pocketing in profit after all of their costs, their overhead, paying their employees, even paying all of their corporate offices. They're still making over $170 billion in profits over the last running 12 months. And in 2024, they actually saw a little over 7% increase in profits over 2023. So in addition to making hundreds of billions of dollars in profits, they're also continuously growing year over year, which means profits next year will probably be more than this year. And the tariffs are a perfect excuse for them to raise prices. And that is why President Trump is absolutely calling them out really, really hard on this right now, because of all of the retailers that are existing in the United States right now. If any one of them should be able to absorb the cost of the tariffs and not pass it on to consumers, it should be Walmart. But Walmart is publicly acknowledging that they are still going to be raising prices because of tariffs, because they don't want to have to eat into their profits. And that's pretty nasty, because the real people that are going to be hit by these tariffs are going to be consumers like you and me, because we don't have the unfortunate benefit to be profiting billions of dollars every single year. But Walmart, who does have the ability to absorb tariffs, is just going to, pass it along to us as the consumers so that they can continue to profit hundreds of billions of dollars every single year. And lest we not forget Target. While Target's profits are not as huge as Walmart's, surely it is still enough to absorb the cost of the tariffs and not pass these increases on to consumers. As of January 31st, 2025, Target's annual profit was just over $30 billion. And that was a 1.62% increase over the prior year. For the last 3 years or so, Target's profits have really been around the high 20s, low 30s in the billion-dollar profit range. But one might argue that having tens of billions of dollars in profits every single year, you should be able to eat some of the tariff costs and not push all of it onto consumers. But now I want to shed a spotlight on a bigger company that is right here in the US, that manufactures primarily in the US, that has been busted for raising their prices, calling it an economic climate necessity due to the tariffs. I want to talk about Hallmark. I'm sure everybody knows what Hallmark is: Hallmark greeting cards, Hallmark Christmas ornaments. You might see Hallmark cards inside of Walmart's, or you might have a standalone Hallmark store in the city nearest to you. As a matter of fact, most of Hallmark's products are manufactured right in my home state of Kansas. And if that's the case, if Hallmark does manufacture so much right here in the heart of the Midwest, what's the reason for raising prices due to tariffs? Even though Hallmark does not import majority goods from overseas, they are still blanketly raising their prices 25% or more across their entire line. And this is the perfect example of how some companies will use the tariffs as a reason to raise their prices and increase their profits. Now, their revenue information is kind of all over the place. I found that in 2024, Hallmark had over $708 million in revenue, resulting in a profit of $94 million. But apparently $94 million a year in profits isn't enough, because allegedly, in my opinion, the tariffs are a prime way to increase those profits. I actually stumbled upon somebody that is on TikTok that went into a Hallmark store to get the new 2025 ornament catalog for the holiday season, and they were very surprised with the information that they gathered.
Hallmark is raising all of their prices because of tariffs. Now hear me out. I just left the Hallmark store, with the ornaments and all that, right? I love them. I've been going them for years. Like many of you collect the ornaments and shit, so I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. But what I just found out is a little concerning to me. I have some questions. The ornament book. I was like, are these free? Can I take one? And she was like, yes. And I was like, okay, cool. And then she was like, but you also have to take this. I said, what do you mean? She said, this is the updated price list, because the ornament book came out and they had to do price adjustments, so these are the new pricing. This is a generic list, right? So if something was $149.99, it should have said it's $164.99. And I said, what's going on with the prices? And as she's handing it to me, and she said it's because of the tariffs. And I said, oh, okay. So I get into the car and I'm thinking to myself, I was like, a tariff is like a tax on imported goods from outside of the country. So I Googled where Hallmark manufactures their shit from. And it said Kansas, which is in the United States. And I was like, okay. So then I call Hallmark. I said, hey, where do you guys make your ornaments and your cards and all your stuff? And she goes, the majority of our things, to my knowledge, are made in Kansas. Everything is here made in the United States. I said, okay. I was like, is there anything that's made outside of the United States? To my knowledge, no. And I said, okay. She goes, we do maybe pick a design or something that we purchase from someone outside of the United States. But to my knowledge, everything is made right here in the United States. I said, okay, so why are you guys raising the prices? And not just on some items, right? Like if you had like 1 or 2 items that are made and manufactured in other countries and have it shipped here, okay, cool. Tariffs are probably going to affect that. You raise the prices. Okay, whatever. This is a generic list for everything. It doesn't. So you see what I'm saying?
So I will link her full video down in the video description if you want to go watch it directly, but it does go on for a little while longer because she does do some investigating. She could not get a straight answer for anything. She went back and forth with emails. Nobody could give her a legitimate reason why all of the prices were increasing, even on the items that were manufactured here in Kansas. Now, let's play devil's advocate just a little bit. So yes, items are manufactured here in the state of Kansas. So could it mean that they get a lot of their materials from outside of the US? Yes, that is very, very true. So items could be manufactured in Kansas, but not necessarily materials made in the state of Kansas. That could be true, but if that is true, why can't they answer that simple question when asked? Why are they still just saying, oh, it's because of the tariffs? Oh, it's because of the tariffs. Why can't they say the materials that we get are manufactured outside of the US and they are manufactured in Kansas? Then I started thinking to myself, what if this is an isolated incident? What if this is just a few stores, her region, surely living in the state of Kansas where the items are manufactured? Maybe there's a chance, because I'm so close to the source, that I would not see any price increases at my Hallmark. Again, I'm optimistic. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. So I decided to drive to my nearest Hallmark store that is located in Wichita, Kansas. And I stopped in and I got myself,
Yeah, do you guys have the new ornament catalog?
the 2025 ornament book. And I was starting to feel pretty optimistic when I walked in and asked for the book, that they just handed me the booklet and not a pricing sheet. But then, as I was walking away, I opened it up.
This price list that's here.
It's because the books were printed before all the situation. The tariffs.
Oh, so the prices are inaccurate in the book then?
At the moment, they are.
Okay.
If
So
anything
thi-
changes,
so-
we definitely
So
let
this
everyone
would
know.
be the price that I need to look at. So if something in the book is $69.99, it's going to be $86.99 instead?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Oh,
But if anything does change, we will always let everyone know as soon as we can.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
And there is the pricing sheet stapled to the first page. This price list is hefty. It is a minimum of 25% across the board. You know, if something was $3.99, it's now $4.99. If something is $12.99, it's now $15.99. If something was $99.99, it is now $124.99. It is a bulk 25% price increase across their entire line. But yet all of their ornaments and things are manufactured in the state of Kansas. At least 75% of them are. So if only 25% of their items are manufactured outside of the United States, why is there a 25% price increase on everything that they carry? And the questions cannot be answered. It just keeps getting rerouted to the tariff excuse. Because they know that as consumers, it's extraordinarily difficult for us to understand, and it's difficult for us to tell whether or not these price increases are actually necessary or if they're just an opportunity for these big corporations to just take advantage of a complicated situation. Because here's the thing, they will not exactly break down how these tariffs are affecting their prices. And that's because they don't have to. And that's also because the average shopper also doesn't completely understand basic economics. And they don't have to tell us exactly how and why these tariffs are affecting the prices. And that just leaves the door open for them to absolutely take advantage. Sure, tariffs are on certain items that are imported, and that can lead to price increases. But these companies are still raising prices that potentially are not affected by tariffs at all. And allegedly, they're just looking for another way to increase their profits, and the tariffs is the perfect excuse. Prices on items go up typically every single year, but right now, in this current climate, we are seeing higher than ever price increases because in addition to inflation, there is a tariff war going on, and it is the perfect storm for greed and opportunism. And now I want to talk about what us as shoppers can do to fight back. Because you might not think that there's anything that you can do, that prices are going up and you need these items, therefore you just have to either spend more money or put yourself further in debt acquiring items that you think you need. But that is not true. You do have a choice. There are smarter decisions that you can make with your shopping that's essentially giving a middle finger to all of these big corporations that are exploiting the tariff situation to simply line their own pocketbooks. Because here's the thing, the prices keep going up because people keep spending money. Because we keep paying the prices that they are asking for things at these big retailers, they can keep raising the price. The prices go down when demand goes down. That is the entire idea behind clearancing out and running sales. A retailer has more product that they need to move, and they need to start getting whatever money that they can for it to move in new product. So that means that if we as shoppers stop buying, it could help force some of those prices down again. If we keep shopping and we keep paying them the inflated prices that they keep giving us, what reason do they have to stop? The first thing that you can do is stop buying certain items from big box retailers or these mega corporations that are using tariffs as an excuse to suck more money out of you. Start shopping more secondhand. You can easily find things like clothing, furniture, electronics, and a lot of these items are just as good and sometimes even better quality than this newly manufactured crap. You could check out thrift stores, consignment shops, online platforms like eBay. You can even go on Facebook Marketplace. You can shop yard sales, estate sales. Not only will you be saving money, but you'll also be reducing the demand for imported goods, which can ultimately cut down on the tariff impact. It also strengthens community by supporting local businesses. Buying locally isn't just a way to support local business, it's also a way to save money. Because a lot of these local businesses do not rely on imports like the big box retailers do. And typically, they can offer a better price without a corporate markup. You could check out farmers markets for food items as well as handmade products, independent clothing shops that either hand make their own items or they do secondhand clothing. You can even look at local hardware stores because many small local businesses will focus on American-made goods rather than the cheap junk that we get overseas. As consumers, we need to be more conscientious. We need to be more aware of how we are spending our money and who we are spending our money with. Because it's easy for these big box retailers to lure us in because it's a lot more convenient to get everything at one location. Sometimes their prices can be better than other locations, and they give the illusion that they are saving you money and time. But every dollar that we are spending with these companies is telling them it's okay to do what they're doing to us, and it's not right. A lot of these companies think that they are too big to fail, and they are absolutely exploiting situations and taking advantage of their consumers. And I know, I am not so naive to think that we could never ever shop at a big corporation ever again. They basically run our entire world. But what we can do is minimize it. Only get the things that you cannot get anywhere else, and if you can find something somewhere else, get it there. Even if that means that you have to plan ahead and shop online secondhand versus needing something in the moment and being forced to go to a big corporation to pick it up. We have the power to change the markets simply by using our wallets. Don't fall for inflated prices, support small business, and make informed purchasing decisions. And maybe, just maybe, if we do that, we can keep these big corporations in check. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video and appreciate this kind of content, remember to hit that thumbs up before you leave. I greatly appreciate it. While you're down there, also hit subscribe and make sure to ring that notification bell. That way you're notified whenever I post my next video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.